Learning Russian words can be incredibly frustrating. That's why in this video I want to share with you a simple technique or method that you can use to quickly learn hundreds of new Russian words in less than a couple of hours. And this will help you to quickly improve the size of your active vocabulary, which will in turn make it easier for you to actually have conversations in Russian. So how does this work? Let me explain by asking you a simple question. What do all these Russian words have in common? Эффект, бров, банан, паспорт, коррупция. Try to translate all these words into English and see what happens. Have you found the translation yet? If not, you can just pause the video. But now I'm going to give you the 5 English words of these 5 Russian words, the translation. Эффект, brow, banana, passport, corruption. These are the exact same words in Russian as in English. And these are called cognates. And as you may guess, these 5 words are not the only 5 words that are actually the same in both languages. I spent about half a day looking up on all different sites and thinking about myself, about all the words that I knew that are actually the same in English and in Russian. And I got to a list of about 750 Russian English cognates. I'm still updating the list whenever I find a new one. More about this list later on in the video. So, which words do you think are easier to learn? A completely random Russian word or a cognate like this? Let me give you a quick example. Like if you tried to learn the word for, let's say, passport, and you figure out that it's passport in Russian, then it's gonna be like you see this word once and you're like, okay, passport is passport. But if you have a different word, like for example, the word for equipment, which is оборудование, then I know, because this was a difficult word for me when I was learning Russian. I was like, equipment. I just could not get it into my head. I was spending, like, I'd seen the word like already like 10 times or so in my Anki flashcard, and I still could not remember that it actually meant equipment. And for a word like this, you really need to see it a lot of times and also either see it in a real life situation or hear it when you're watching some movies or series. For example, if you were to go fishing in a Russian speaking country and you know you were renting a boat and they're asking you, вам нужно оборудование, like, you know, do you need equipment? And if you have these kind of associations, then you can remember it together with seeing it plenty of times. But with these cognates, it's like, boom, you see them, you know them. So currently I found about 750 Russian English cognates, but to be honest, there are probably much more, especially if you start talking about words that are just being taken over from English. Like, what do you think the words for the word гуглить, лайкать, hated mean? Those just mean to Google, to like, to hate. And those words are still pretty much slang at the moment, but with each year, these words are becoming more mainstream, which means mainstream. Now, will just knowing these cognates actually make you fluent in Russian? No, unfortunately not. You'll still need to learn regular vocabulary, spend time on grammar, listen, and practice speaking. But it's simply one of those little tiny things, such a low-hanging fruit, to simply spend a couple of hours going through lists of cognates in order to make sure that you instantly upgrade your Russian vocabulary by a lot of useful words. So there are actually 2 effective ways to actually get these cognates into your head. The first one is to just read through the list. Oftentimes, just seeing that a word is a cognate can already be enough for you to make the connection in your brain that, oh, mentalitet means mentality, theater means theater. Another thing that I would recommend is simply to take this list of cognates and install them in an Anki flashcard deck, because Anki is simply easy to use and the spaced repetition that it gives you gives this extra layer to make it easier for you to remember. Another great thing is if you install it on your phone, you can just, whenever you're waiting for something somewhere in a bar, restaurant, public transport, train, or just sitting at home at the couch, you can just spend a couple of minutes going through cognates. So, where do you find this list of Russian English cognates? Well, I've made it available for free. You can download it through a link in the description. The only thing I ask from you in return is that whenever you encounter another Russian English cognate, that you either send me an email or that you just put a comment in the comment section below with the word so that I can then update the cognate sheet so that together we can create the most comprehensive Russian English cognate sheet currently available online. Спасибо большое и желаю вам хорошего дня.